Congress don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
And we're back for a Super Wildcard Weekend episode of Lock Talk. I'm really close to the camera this week. Joey's back with me. The fellas are back, ready to talk some football and hammer home the final 4 weeks of the season here, Joey.
Hell yeah.
We are going to finish it out. We're going to do an episode each week all the way up to the Super Bowl next week. We're going to be joined by Dan Koob. For those of you that remember, we had Dan on at the beginning of the season. I think he was our first guy.
I think he was second.
Maybe he was second.
First guest you forgot to press record.
Oh well, yeah. Technically,
but yeah, it'll be good to have Dan back, Philly guy. So we'll see if he's in a good mood or a bad mood. But also a bourbon enthusiast like yourself. So maybe you guys can pour up a glass, commiserate, talk about your teams after a loss, maybe after a win. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Dan and I are as far as headspace. It'll be happy drinking or sad drinking next week. Some house cleaning things before we jump into the card. The app has the leaderboard going strong. Your boy has been up there to start. We're going to be, for those of you that missed the newsletter, that is going to reset every month now. Is that correct, Joey?
I think every month, every week, we got to get a good cadence going, but it's going to be definitely more regular. I've been throwing some blogs out there too past few months. So I'm looking at the slate now, Wednesday night, I think I might throw out a blog before the weekend. So I'm not working from home the next 2 days, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but I love this slate. But to your point, more blogs to come. If you're interested in writing, DMS on X, message us on Instagram, wherever you follow us, and let us know who you like. Let us know who you don't like, man. I loved your shit during bowl season, and I'm excited to see what you got to say ahead of this weekend.
Yeah, man. I will definitely match you with a blog. I got some free time as well, and with a tight little card this weekend. See something from both of the boys on the app. Christmas giveaways from our Christmas episode. Those will be getting out this week. My Green Bay guys that all won. I'm trying to get up there, but it seems like every time I go up there recently, it's been for a game. But that's all headed out. And then last I wanted to touch on, Hoop Drunk, back 3 times a week, starting in February, running through March. March, we may run daily, as I have in the past. I don't foresee myself doing a whole lot other than hanging around the house for that weekend. I may be doing some in-home March Madnessing this year, which would be the first time in a while. But we do the trip every year. Gets a little old. I've got a wedding and a honeymoon that needs to get paid for. Your boy's not doing a lot of vacations anytime soon. But Joey, it's Super Wildcard Weekend. We are going to talk about every single game.
Yes.
There are storylines galore. There's so much that we can talk about. I'm interested to know, and I have this from a macro level, the 3-day wildcard weekend. How does that work for you? Would you rather move a game? I've got a take. I'm interested to hear yours.
I love the Saturday games. I think the Sunday 1 p.m. Eastern time into 4 into 8, if that's how it is, that range. I love Saturday and Sunday. The Monday night game, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Look, I'm pushing 30. I'm in the office every day. I got a bedtime. So I don't love it, but I do think the shittiest game they reserved for Monday. I don't know how they would move that around. I mean, do they just push that to Saturday and then do?
I wondered, like, have we not played Saturday noon games before? I don't know. Maybe I'd have to go back and look. But, that's my thought is I love the way that it's set up with Sunday. I think that we would feel better as a podcast if they would just run it 3-3 on Saturday, Sunday. Then you don't got to worry about, teams getting more rest than another team ahead of them and all this other stuff, playing on a short week when you get that Monday night game. I think I figured we were both on the same page there, but it's always something I talk about. I talked about it with a bunch of my coworkers this week, and everybody's kind of feeling that same way. We don't want to really stay up, especially to watch Philly and the Bucks, but shit, I'd watch it all day long on a Saturday afternoon.
Exactly. And Monday, look, it's like any other Monday night football game, right? Except this is the playoffs. So I'm expecting this to actually be a pretty good game. And it gives both those quarterbacks who looked a little banged up and some of the other guys who were probably hurt one extra day to recover. So hopefully Monday night is a good game.
We'll definitely talk
I
about
don't really have – I don't mind the schedule. Would I rather it be on a Saturday? I guess, but I'll take a Monday.
We're not going to complain about 6 games
that
weekend. That's the last thing that we're going to do. More football is good no matter when they play it. Shall we start then? Saturday, 4:30 your time. It's going to kick off on NBC. This is NBC, the station. If you have cable, you do have this game.
Yeah, National Broadcasting Channel, I believe.
2.5 of the Texans, 44.5 is the total. Looking at how the numbers have kind of moved, the Browns and the over have taken some money. Both of them have moved a point from open. I lean Texans outright. I teased them. I teased them out to 8.5 in this spot. I'll talk about my second leg of that. When the Browns, when they played at home, 8-1 straight up and against the spread. On the road, 3-5 straight up, 2-6 against the spread.
That's a huge stat.
Huge swing. Absolutely huge. Stroud, he's shown he can get the job done with anybody slotted in at receiver. He's kind of got that Aaron Rodgers-esque type ability to throw to anybody. And honestly, I think I'm ready to say he's a top 10 guy.
I think he's like borderline top 5. I think
he's so good, and I have a buddy of mine.
Good. He's so fun to watch. I absolutely love this game. Obviously, it'd be a lot funnier if Watson was playing going up against his former team. But we'll take a 38, 39-year-old, however the hell old he is, Joe Flacco, who looks awesome, and that's been such a cool story. Cleveland is awesome. I really like their team. I like what they're doing. They probably have runner-up for Coach of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Both these coaches are top 3 Coach of the Year candidates. I think that's a great stat you just threw out about Cleveland's home and away splits, because I didn't even look that up yet, but I do love Houston. I love Houston getting the points, and I kind of love them outright too. I will definitely tease this, and if it gets to 3, I love the plus 2.5.
Plus 3 would have me consider taking that just on the line, but I do think this is a game that they win outright. For as good as that stat is, Joey, we're talking about Cleveland on the road. Road overs for the Cleveland Browns this year were 8-0.
No shit.
With a 44.5 point total. Both sides have cleared this total in 5 of their last 6 down the stretch. I lean Texans. I think I'm going to end up taking the over in this one as well. I'm going to see how the line does, but if I see it tick up even a point, I'm gonna hit it because I kind of like the over in this spot, and I like the Texans. I'm not ballsy enough to tease those two, but if somebody wanted to, they definitely could. But this is a game where I think the wrong team is favored, but I understand the line.
I do too. Houston's still not getting the respect they deserve.
Right.
But I think it's a tight game. I'm seeing like a 24-21 type game. You have a playoff vet in Flacco up against a rookie who looks like a vet. 2 awesome coaches, 2 cool teams. I'm excited, man. First game, I think it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, I think this is like the perfect, and we all knew there was no doubt Houston was going to be playing at the 3:30 slot. This is how it's always been. You and I growing up, this was the Houston game every year. Houston, Cincinnati kind of went back and forth on it. I think they even played one year. Looking just at some of the injury stuff going on, there's a lot of question marks out there. It looks like Will Anderson Jr. is just going to be completely fine. I know Cleveland on their side, Amari Cooper did get upgraded to probable for Sunday. They do have some guys that are still questionable, especially in their secondary. Definitely keep an eye on Mike Ford and Juan Thornhill as we get closer. Greg Newsome, the second, also a corner that is slotted as questionable for Sunday. And when you're playing C.J. Stroud, man, he's got the livest arm in the league. So if you've got guys that are loose in your secondary, that's going to be tough if you're the Cleveland Browns. But
looking at, I remember they played recently. They played on Christmas Eve, and Cleveland beat them 36-22. I don't remember if Stroud was hurt because I know
Mills game.
That was a Davis Mills game. Okay, then throw that out the window. Doesn't matter at all.
Yep, game completely doesn't matter. And honestly, I think that was a complete blowout. I think Houston scored like 15 points or some odd points in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, you don't take anything into that game. I think Houston is the play, but I do think it's a tease piece at this point because it is Stroud's first playoff game, and he's going against a guy that's won a Super Bowl. So definitely have to take that into account as well and give Flacco the respect he deserves.
Absolutely, in Cleveland as a whole. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's no knock at Cleveland. I just my gut's telling me Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes when you're getting this late in the season and you've watched enough football, sometimes going with your gut's not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Speaking of going with your gut, going with my gut, Peacock, 8 o'clock, Dolphins, Chiefs. Storyline all week, man. It has been Miami in the weather, 2-7 against the spread, 0-9 straight up. When the temps dip below 40 degrees, Saturday night's calling for 0 and a low of -9 there, Joey.
I love it.
This feels like a game that the Chiefs win by 5 to 7 points. If it was 25 to 30 degrees, the extreme temps, it's not going to be fun for anybody. Kind of missed the boat getting a better money line price this week.
Right.
I think I can still get it under 200 on our player-to-player or peer-to-peer apps. But I don't know, man. I think one thing, I'll make one note on the game and let you go off, because the only thing I want to look at is Kansas City's rushing game. Miami has had injury problems up front on defense. They've given up just under 300 yards in their past 2 games combined. Pacheco over 100 yards in 2 of his last 3. I think you got to think about it. It's going to be, obviously, the weather. Complete shit. I'm excited every time we get these fun weather games, and we get a lot of fun weather this time of year. I'm happy that, because Kansas City could be 50 degrees and sunny, and I don't think anybody would bat an eye.
Right.
We're getting -9.
Midwest, man. You guys in the plains are getting smacked.
Yeah.
So all the weather stats I'm seeing, we are a weather podcast. Let's keep that in mind.
Of course.
All the weather stats I'm seeing and everyone talking about this game, everything is pointing the Chiefs' way. And how bad Tua and the Dolphins are in temperatures under 40 degrees and this and that, and how they love playing in, Miami at Hard Rock and shit. But I haven't seen anyone lean the Dolphins. So what does this mean?
4.5, man. That's a lot of points for a team that that pushed right down the stretch.
I don't like the spread right now, man. But they're banged up. They're banged up on defense. I love Isaiah Pacheco first touchdown plus 450.
I do like that as well. When you got Bradley Chubb gone out front, Andrew Van Ginkel is now gone up front.
That's tough.
You already had Jalen Phillips out. I mean, your linebacking core is gutted. Gutted. This is one thing about the Chiefs. There's a guy, Dr. Chow, I believe, the Pro Football Doc.
Yes.
You've seen him.
Him and like Jesse Morse and those guys who always pop up.
So very interesting with them. One thing that they do is they do a metric, an injury metric towards the end of the year.
Okay.
Especially once we get into the playoffs here. The Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm pulling it up right now on OddsShark, There is not a single player on their injury report.
Really?
Not a single player on the injury report.
Like Kelsey's good.
They are far and wide by this metric, which they gave him like a 90 rating. I don't know, and I'm sure it's out of 100. Kansas City is far and wide the most healthy team in the league right now, which is terrifying.
I don't with that. Just throw that on top of all the other stats, the weather, whatever. Chiefs, man, they got to win this They got to win this.
Yeah,
this is 5+.
This is
right. What's 4.5 now?
Yeah, it's 4.5. Mostert is banged up. Waddle is banged up. I think Tyreek Hill has a big day. I think he has no problem playing in the cold. He's done it before. I don't think he has an issue at all.
Revenge game.
But when you get into the cold stuff like that, is you worry about hamstrings and shit like that getting tight. And with Tyreek, we've seen that happen. So, I mean, you lose him, and that offense becomes nothing, especially with a banged-up Waddle and a banged-up Mostert. So
yeah, and Kansas City's used to this, man. I mean, like, if you got a guy like Chris Jones healthy on that D-line, he's going to cause some trouble.
Yeah.
So the more you look at it, everything adds up for it to be a Kansas City win, whether it's high scoring, low scoring.
And I don't think it's a Kansas City win by margin, but I do think it's a Kansas City win. Like I said, 5 to 7 points. I don't want to lay the points. I really want to get a money line. And I think if you want to bet a money line, a way to boost your price would be to bet the first game on Sunday afternoon, Joey. That is going to be the Steelers catching 10 in a wild card playoff game, traveling to the Buffalo Bills. Oy, yoy, yoy. This thing opened 8.5, quickly got bet up to 10.
Oh, yeah.
The total, on the other hand, went from 43 at open to 36, Joey. And you want to know why? It's because we're talking 25-mile-an-hour sustained winds, 52-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 23 feels like 7, and the lights. I took the under
weather, man,
for a half unit, and I got it even money because somebody scooped up my bet right away on both peer-to-peer apps, actually.
Okay.
I stuck a feeler out there on both, ended up from a quarter unit to a half unit, but that's okay. At 36, I'm going under. Pittsburgh this is Mason Rudolph's first playoff start. Mason Rudolph's been totally okay, but no TJ Watt. This defense is going to be.
It's tough.
I just don't see a way. And also, I've got a Bills future. So for me, I was kind of loved the draw, man. I like the Bills in this spot. Don't know if I can lay 10 with the crazy weather. Pittsburgh is weird. What's your opinion?
I'm seeing like a 24-10 Bills win.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers are used to the weather, all that. So like, I don't think the weather in this game plays as much of an effect as it does in the Miami Chiefs game, obviously.
I love that I can still win the under at 24-10. That makes me feel so good.
Right. I mean, like, I'm looking at the under of the book I'm looking at, and as you said, it's 36.
Yeah.
24-10
wins. Pittsburgh was 12.5 on their team total. I mean, Vegas does not expect them to score.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh's D, too. Watt's great, even outside of him, though. I mean, they got some Pro Bowlers. They got some guys who can really play at a high level. So
I agree.
They can slow Buffalo down with their defense in the snow. So I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game. 36 is tricky, but if I'm leaning at anything for the total, I'm leaning the under. Give me 24-10 Bills, man.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting game. A lot of question marks right now in the Bills as far as injuries go. Rasul Douglas left the last game. He's questionable. Obviously, a huge part of their defense. That kind of blows for me. But yeah, Pittsburgh, man. You won 3 straight down the stretch, very similar to my Packers to get in. They won games, and they kind of, you won convincingly against Cincinnati. You won pretty convincingly against Seattle, even though it ended up being a touchdown game. I don't know. I'll give Pittsburgh the respect in not laying 10 with them. But, here we go. This is something I wanted to actually see if I can get my hands on. Joey, how do you think Buffalo's done laying 10+ this year?
Not great.
So right now I'm looking back. New England So New England, they were 15-point favorites. They lost the game outright. Sorry. They won the game outright. They did not cover. Week before, Chargers. We both remember that game, I'm sure, December 23rd. That ended up being a 2-point game. They were 12.5-point favorites. Go back to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they were laying 10. Ended up winning that game 24-18. New York, your Giants, they were laying 15.
And by 4.
If I remember correctly, it was a Monday night.
I think it was a Sunday night game, and they won by like 4 or 5, right?
Yep. Ended up being 14-9.
Yeah.
The story is the Bills do not cover the big number. They're 0-4 this year when it gets up to 10. And it's a whole lot better when it gets – they're just not good against the spread, I'll say it. I mean, they're good when they're dogs, but they're not really good when they're favored. I'm not going to lay 10 with the Bills.
I don't want to either. Look, Tomlin, too. Tomlin in a playoff game in the snow, he doesn't give a shit. 10 points, I think that's way too much to give to Tomlin. So I would maybe tease the Bills down.
I don't hate that. In a sloppy game, I could see them winning by like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Like a 17-9, you want to be able to cover that 17-9 game.
If they're covering, they're winning in that. See that 24-10 range. Maybe it goes over. Maybe they blow them out 31-10. I don't know. But
the only thing that would suck for me in this game is if the Bills win it like 38-37, nothing.
Yeah. And they, they can do that. But with a spread like this, I just see it being I don't see it being too high of a.
Yeah, and again, with the conditions the way they are, you're not going to beat your guys up, especially if you have a lead. I think this is a game, if they get a lead, they sit on it, which, again, just kind of game state leads to the under, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's a big James Cook game. I think
you're right.
Second half of the season, he was tremendous. He had a great season all year long, but I think they know, feed that guy, let him do his thing. So
also, I saw a brief tweet, and I hate that I didn't bookmark it. I should have bookmarked it because I knew we were talking later. Najee Harris apparently very, very good when the weather starts getting very, very bad.
Okay.
How often are they going to be in running situations? How much are they going to let Mason Rudolph throw the football? They've got 2 running backs. I don't know how the carry splits, so I'm not probably quite there yet. But
right. Yeah, they're both good backs too, man. Warren's really good too. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Pittsburgh offense isn't too high powered.
No, so. When your total is 12.5 in a playoff game, the writing's on the wall. You need a quarterback. Pittsburgh needs to figure it out. Okay, let's talk 4:30 kickoff in Dallas. The
Take it away.
Packers.
It's you.
Green Bay Packers are in the playoffs. That's great.
That's all you can ask for.
It's really, really great. Time is a flat circle. We are back. Dallas, a place that we have never lost in Jerry World. Very, very good record-wise. Obviously, 12 was playing quarterback, not 10.
Yeah.
But
is 10 that much different than 12?
His numbers are better. In the last, he was an NFC Player of the Week the last 2 weeks in must-win games. The kid can fucking sling the pill. I'll tell you what. He's coming on better than I ever could have imagined, and I'm over the moon already as a Packer fan. Plus 7.5, man, 2 units for me. It's my one big play of the weekend. I think this is a game where a Mike McCarthy blunder opens up a backdoor at worst, if not a win for the Packers. I think the backdoor is so wide open when it's Mike McCarthy. Dallas blows out bad teams. Green Bay's not a bad team. Green Bay will play in a track meet with you.
I'm with you there.
I'm sorry. You're going up against a very, very good schematically set up offensive line to where I'm not saying he's going to get negated. He's going to get his one. I guarantee he gets one, and it's probably going to be early. But I would expect the game plan to be quick. Aaron Jones, 100 yards each of the last 3 weeks. Nobody's rushed for more over the last 3 weeks than Aaron Jones. Yeah, I got the Packers in this one. I think Dallas is fake good. I've kind of said it all year. I don't think they're nearly what is advertised. The fact that they're getting 7.5 and laying 7.5 here. is a lot, but I also have a unit on the Packers plus 295, and that's just a homer bet.
Well, look, you're a stakeholder. You're a shareholder. You got to do what you got to do. I really like this game. Also, another headline, McCarthy,
Of course,
going back up against Packers. They're hosting, I know, in Jerry World, but I think it'll be lower scoring than people are expecting. I do think
50.5 is a lot.
That's a lot. I think like Packers are going to rely on Dylan and Aaron Jones, and I do think Tony Pollard, they're going to feed him a lot too. I know he kind of was quiet this season, but who's your guy? Alexander, he's going to be covering CeeDee Lamb, who was tremendous all season. But
I will say one, if you want to look at Pollard rushing, the Packers, Isaiah McDuffie. Nobody knows about this guy. He, going into the season, was our third linebacker in the middle. We run the 2 middle linebacker scheme. DeAndre Campbell has been, unfortunately, not as good as he was when we first got him. He's getting a little old. He's been a little banged up. McDuffie has been massive on our defense. He is questionable with a concussion. If he doesn't pass protocol, I'm probably going to be taking some Tony Pollard props because in the middle, Walker does a good job. He does a good job tackling guys 3, 4, 5 yards downfield. He doesn't fill the hole like McDuffie does. I think that's a guy, if you want to zero in on a prop, you could do that with Tony Pollard.
Love it.
Isaiah McDuffie's.
Well, look at that. Insider information ahead of this game. 7.5 is a lot for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Love what Green Bay is doing. You should be over the moon. They're young. They're exciting. I mean, they got
young, dumb, and full of cum, baby.
Young, yeah, you said it. You said it best. Look, it's Dallas in the playoffs. Dak chokes a lot. I think Dallas's D shows up. I know Quinn is looking to get a head coaching job, so I think their defense is going to be what carries them to the wild card and maybe even the NFC Championship game.
Sure.
But I think Dallas wins this. I don't think they cover the 7.5. That is a key number. That hook is going to burn a lot of people one way or another, I think. But as a fan, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good game. 2 classic teams. I hope your Packers win as a Giants fan.
That'd be great. That would be great.
But maybe the lights will be too bright for Jordan Love. Who knows? We'll see. But good insider information from you.
Yeah. It's going to be a great game for sure. Love the fact that they're playing in America's Game of the Week. I was really worried they may stick us on Monday night, just because.
Look, America also loves slotting Dallas in that 4:25. Time.
Well, that was the thing is I didn't even take into account that Dallas owns that slot. So
Dallas loves that slot.
Shame on me.
When was the last time Dallas? Like, does Dallas ever play
noon?
1 p.m.
Barely.
Like the red zone 1 p.m. slot.
Barely.
Their prime time or 4:25.
They do it, I think, is on the road. They get treated like a West Coast team that plays in the Central Time Zone. It's very weird.
Very. But hey, man, pulling for your Packers. Give me the plus 7.5. That might be a good tease piece too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking a Bills-Packers teaser.
Yeah.
While I'm looking at it Sunday, I'm too impatient to tease 2 games over 2 days. So
yeah, I feel that 100%. I feel that 100%. So that's enough about my Packers. Let's talk Sunday night. We get an awesome matchup.
Great.
We get Rams catching 3 at the Lions. 51.5 is the total. And don't get this narrative twisted. Everybody's getting this narrative all twisted around. This is a Matt Stafford homecoming game. This is a Jared Goff revenge game. Matt Stafford has no vengefulness. There's no ill will between Matt Stafford and Lions fans.
No.
Now, Jared Goff, he probably doesn't care for the team that he took the Super Bowl to and then traded him.
I see that. I like that.
I don't think it matters. I'm using the Rams as my second leg of my teaser this weekend. I'm teasing them out to 9. I've said it for the last probably month and a half. The Rams are a top 3 team, top 4 team in the NFC. I would love to see them go in and beat the Lions. That would be very, very cool. But I like to tease it. I like to tease it a lot. If it got to 3.5, I opened at 3.5. I feel kind of annoyed that I missed that. But at 3, it's good. I like the tease, though. I really do like the tease, especially the dog. Love the dogs this weekend. Big fan of the dogs this weekend. And the Rams are one of them. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm so torn on this game. I'm so excited for this. But when the 3 points, that's huge. I agree with you. I do think teasing the Rams, like I can see like Stafford, they won it 2 fucking years ago, man. Like,
yeah.
They have such a good team.
And they've added a run game and Puka Nacua.
Like, everyone's pulling for Detroit here, and Detroit's awesome, and that city deserves it. That fan base deserves it. They've had that stadium for 20-plus years, and it's their first playoff game there. Like, that's insane.
Let me tell you a little something about Detroit football.
The Rams are good, man.
They're gonna let you down. I grew up in Michigan. I've watched this team. I grew up through the early 2000s. It never was good. It's finally good. They're going to get let down. And also, they're riding way too high off of the Michigan National Championship. There's no way the people of Michigan get a national championship and a playoff game back-to-back.
It's the same week. I think it can happen. I think that can happen.
Oh, that's a lot of positivity for what's normally a pretty depressed season.
As an outsider, I'm pulling for Detroit. I am almost expecting the Rams to go in and win. But the atmosphere is going to be crazy. I'm torn. I'm not throwing analytics out there for this. I'm not saying what I like, what I don't like. I obviously just want a good game. If I'm doing anything, I'm going to tease that Rams piece. Maybe even a 3-game teaser. I might just tease Bills.
Feel it. Do it.
Packers and the Rams. That might be my Sunday teaser.
I like it.
I kind of like that
a lot.
I've only placed 1 bet so far. I'll get to that in a bit. So that was, any other thoughts on Detroit? I know that's kind of your neck of the woods.
No, man. They're riding really high right now. I think Dan Campbell is unbelievably irresponsible and has done nearly malpractice with this team. It cost them a 2 seed by losing to Dallas, and I don't see why he won't do something stupid in the postseason.
Cooper Kupp is plus 1,000 first touchdown scorer.
Ooh. I like that.
Is there some Puka Nacua is plus 950? Is there something we don't know?
They really must not think they're getting in the end zone. What's Kyron though? Kyron's probably like what?
Kyron's plus 600. It goes Gibbs plus 550, David Montgomery plus 550, Kyron Williams plus 600, St. Brown plus 800.
Bro, they got
Laporta, Laporta looked pretty banged up last week.
I don't think he's playing.
He's plus 900 first touchdown scorer.
I think
and if he's not playing, that's huge.
Yeah, I don't think
he must be
markets out there. Hold on,
because that was a pretty that was pretty gnarly looking injury. Yeah.
Laporta's status. Still not sure. Took part in a walkthrough.
Question for you while we're on it.
Yeah.
The total's 51.5. What are your thoughts on that?
Under. First thought is under. I mean, there's way too many. We've got 51.5, 50.5. I mean, back to back. One of those games is going under. We're not getting 2 shootouts.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking back at some of this, some of my Rams data. I don't know. So I'm a little bit torn in the fact that do you do money line or do you take the 3? Because I am of a little bit in my thoughts in the playoffs is fuck the points.
The Rams can't, or the Lions can't lose this game. You know that, right?
Oh, they absolutely can. Absolutely can. But in the reason that I
first
say
home game at Ford Field, dog.
Well, the thing that I'm a little worried about is both teams are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. I don't know if you lay the points or take the points. I think you pick a winner. and you lay the juice.
Oh, if I'm betting Rams +3, I'm taking the money line too.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's anything I'm doing that says anything but Rams money line. This is oh man, this is gonna be. I'm literally just looking at all of the props. This is just gonna be a prop-a-palooza, I think.
With Kyron Williams playing as well as he's playing, Puka,
Kyron, Amon-Ra, both the receivers in LA, Higbee, Stafford, Goff. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward the over too. I do think this is
Gibbs, Montgomery. I mean, holy cow. I'm having too much fun looking at this game, and we got to wait all the way until Sunday night for it. I hate it. But I'm going to love it.
You know what, though? You know what? Give me a 28-24 Detroit win.
Detroit covers the spread.
I got to pull for Detroit, man. But
total goes over at home.
I might be betting the Rams.
Hard to say. Well, let's move to Monday night. It is the nastiest game. I don't have a ton of opinion on it. You watched Philly play last week. What stood out to you, and what is going wrong kind of with all their stuff?
A lot. I can't pinpoint it, but even talking to some of their fans who I know, they're so nervous and scared like I haven't seen.
They haven't covered in almost 2 months.
Yeah. The Eagles fans who I've been in touch with, yeah, they're like very nervous. They're not like, oh yeah, they'll figure their shit out, whatever. They're kind of expecting them to go into Tampa and lose outright. I don't know what happened, if it's locker room shit at the fan. But I mean, I don't know what Hurts' status is. That middle finger did not look good. Baker's kind of banged up too. They, as I said earlier, they got one extra day to.
Slay's got a knee. AJ Brown's got a kney. DeAndre Swift is sick. Devontae Smith's got a foot. I mean,
this might end up being a stinker of a game.
Blanket
seeing under 44 at -115, you know what that means.
Yeah, I think this has got to be an under.
Does Philly squeak one out?
I mean, well, here we go. Total's gone under in 6 of Tampa's last 7 home games.
Oh yeah, Tampa's not. I mean, Tampa. They deserve to get in from that shitty division, but what are they to win the division? Week 18, they beat Carolina 9-0 or 12-0. Was it?
Yeah, it was 9-0. It was a weird game. So for Tampa, they couldn't throw. They had 115 yards through the air, and that's after Baker had 292, 265, 353. So I don't know how much I read into that. It's a weird game. I don't love how they finished the season, and it's probably what's keeping me away from betting Tampa in this scenario. I would look at Tampa team total if you really want to do it. Philly gave up 27 to New York, 35 to Arizona, 25 to the Giants, 20 to Seattle, 33 to Detroit, 42 to San Fran, 34 to Buffalo. They've just been giving up points, 31 even to Washington. I mean, this team their defense is bad. Their defense is all sorts of bad. Tampa was 8-1 against the spread on the road this year. That's interesting. 3-5 only at home. Man, I lean under, and it's hard to say that I lean under and Tampa team total over, but I counted 2. Tease
Philly's defense has not been playing well.
You could tease Tampa if this was, I don't know. If it was in Philly, I would say Philly could get right, but it's not in Philly, man. And they're going to give them a lot of exotic looks with Todd Bowles. He's going to send the house.
Yeah, I mean, there as a lot of games in Florida are, there are going to be a lot of Eagles fans there. So,
interesting here
it's
as
not
well.
the toughest place to play. I don't know what the weather's like. I don't think it'll be. I don't know.
Eagle overs are 7-1 at home, 2-7 on the road this year. Everything to me is pointing under. I'm not going to bet anything yet. That might be something that I bet a little bit later.
I have a bet for this game. I haven't placed it yet, but we're going to talk about that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that. Well,
Yeah.
That's what we call a segue, folks. Shall we talk about it?
If you have nothing else, I think that's the worst game of the weekend. The Monday night one. It's a stinker. We hope it's not a stinker, but right now between the Eagles just haven't looked good. Nobody knows what to expect from them, so I don't have many thoughts right now. We're happy to get a Monday night game, but I do think they're saving the worst for last.
Oh, of course.
I don't really have any more to say about that game. But go Bucks, and let's get the fucking let out.
Let's do it. All right, Joey, get us started. Let me know what your favorite is for this week.
I wrote this down. I had to choose something for my favorite. The only bet I have placed was Chiefs -3. It has since moved to -4.5. I will add, for the sake of the podcast and our graphic, I will add -4.5. I do think the Chiefs cover. I don't think they blow Miami out. Given the conditions and everything, I think Pacheco has a huge game. I think they win by 6+. Give me the Chiefs -4.5.
Well, Joey, that's the best bet because I'm also saying Chiefs -4.5. Like I said, I'd love to get them around under 200
Love it
on the game day. But, I'm saying that is the best bet for the boys, both going with Chiefs laying 4.5. Getting 3 was awesome. When did you bet that?
2 days ago.
Terrific. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I knew it was going to move because there was already all the weather reports coming out.
Sure. Of course.
Weather can change in like 5 or so days. But I hopped on it. I liked it. Chiefs are home. Arrowhead's a tough place to play for anyone.
Oh.
Miami, I don't know if they're fraudulent or what, but I think the Chiefs in the playoffs. I love the injury report you rattled off before, which was non-existent for Kansas City.
Second level is decimated.
So,
yeah,
I love it. We might have the same dog too. So, who do you got?
It's the only competent team catching more than a touchdown this weekend. It's the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, makes sense.
I think I know what yours is because that was going to be my other one.
Yeah.
But yes, it is the Packers +7.5. And Joey is on the
take it away.
Los Angeles Rams +7.
No. Houston.
Oh,
H-Town.
I like
Texans. Texans +2.5.
+2.5. Okay.
If it gets to 3, I love it even more, obviously. But I love the 2.5. As we talked about before, I may take them outright.
Hey.
Stroud doesn't care that it's. I don't think there's going to be jitters from Stroud or D'Amico Ryans or anyone.
I was hoping this thing would get to +3 because then we get into +150 territory as a money line. I don't think it's going to get there with the way that it's bet, but I fucking love Houston this weekend.
Love it.
For the same reasons that you just said. Joey, what's your favorite total for the weekend?
I'm looking at your Cowboys-Packers matchup, and I'm seeing 51. I like the under. I think run-heavy game for both teams. I do think, obviously, Dak's going to throw it. Jordan Love's going to throw it. There's good receivers on both sides. But I think 51 is just a little too high. Maybe there's some jitters coming from Jordan Love. Give me... Yeah, I'm not going to predict a score, but I think 51's a little too high.
I don't disagree at all. Anytime you're getting a first-time quarterback in the playoffs, it's tough to take the over. But I'm doing it anyways because my favorite total is Browns and Texans over.
Okay.
44.5. I rattled off some stats.
It's a little low, yeah.
Cleveland overs are 8-0 on the season on the road. Cleveland is not the same team when they play on the road. 5 of each team's last 6 games went over this total. I love it. 44.5 is perfect. It gets me where I can get 45 and call it a victory. I see a 23, 27-23 is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Kind of in that range, but I do also like the Texans. So I think we're both looking at Texans and some points.
Love it. I like the Eagles in that one too. I don't know if I'm going to touch that total, but it's a little too low for Houston and Cleveland.
Well, I mean, it's Joe Flacco. If Flacco feels like he's going out, this is his last game. You know he's going out swinging.
Yeah,
I mean
that's what he's been doing, and it's
even
working.
If he gets down late, they're going to sling that thing around the field, and it's totally going to be fine.
Right.
That leads us to our final segment of the show, our lead pipe lock, Joey, where we go off our favorite play of the weekend. I'm interested to hear yours because you've teased it a little bit, and I think I know the game, but I'm interested to see what the bet is.
Yeah, I'm switching it up.
Yeah, mine I talked about briefly. Didn't get too into it, but it's Isaiah Pacheco. Over 64.5 rushing yards this weekend.
Love it.
We talked about this. I think the way this game plays out is a game where the Chiefs lean on Pacheco in the run game. He's gone for over 100 yards in 2 of their last 3.
For sure.
I think he's right behind Aaron Jones in most yards over the past 3 weeks. So I like Pacheco over 64.5 yards. Joey, please tell me what you are making your lead pipe lock that's going to force you to tune in on Monday night.
I'll get there in a second. I love the Pacheco pick. I think.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, second-year guy. He won a Super Bowl last year. They know what he's capable of. He knows the playoff atmosphere.
Yeah,
I love it.
They're going to trust him.
Snow, shitty conditions. He's going to get fed. So I love that.
Ooh,
my lead pipe.
Before you get into that,
yeah.
I looked into it because actually, I don't know if you and I talked about it. Last year, I mentioned a lot of Mahomes' postseason rushing yards. Those props aren't hot anymore. They were hitting at like 80% going into last season. He just stopped rushing the ball for some reason.
Yeah.
He's kind of stopped rushing the ball in general. So stay away from Mahomes. It's like 28.5, so it's super, super juiced up, where it's been sitting like 15, 16 during the season. I just wanted to get that disclaimer in there because I know when people see the Pacheco line, they're also going to see Mahomes right there. Don't go for it. It's not worth it.
And you never know with the Chiefs, man. Maybe they throw in like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and he gets his yards. So
hard to say.
Chiefs are gonna make some noise.
They
don't win it all this year, but they're just too familiar with the playoffs. They got home field against Miami. If Miami wins, I'm not going to be too surprised, but I'm going to be a little shocked. A little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. If Miami wins, it's going to make it a very interesting offseason in Kansas City.
They're just too banged up, but still Tyreek Hill might even be a little banged up, but he's superhuman, and he's going up against his former team. So strange things have happened. It's wild card weekend.
Absolutely.
My lead pipe. I'm doing a little bit, and I'm seeing this at plus 100.
Oh.
My lead pipe. Mike Evans anytime touchdown.
Whoa. I don't think we've had that before.
I'm switching it up. Normally I go with a first half or a team total. Him and Baker, they got a good report. I mean, like,
I don't
it's
hate
the
that.
playoffs. The Eagles defense looks like shit. They're home. Mike Evans has done this. He's been around the block. Give me a Mike Evans anytime touchdown scored on Monday night.
I like that. Plus 100. It's got to be the most confident Vegas is to score a touchdown this weekend. So running through it, Joey's got Evans anytime touchdown for his lead pipe. I got Pacheco over 64.5 rushing yards. I got the Browns Texans over 44.5. He's on the Packers Cowboys under 51. Joey's got Houston plus 2.5 for his favorite dog against the Browns at home. I've got the Pack catching 7.5 for the Cowboys. Chiefs laying 4.5. That is a best bet, as Joey and I both take them as our favorite of the weekend.
Now watch Harrison Butker hit the game-winning field goal, and Miami covers the 4.5. What if Saturday in Kansas City isn't that shitty?
We've seen that. We've had a few times this year where the weather doesn't get as bad, but
because it's only Wednesday. A lot can happen from now.
The difference is this is like precipitation is one thing. this is like an entire storm front coming in, and this like Canadian shit is the real deal. We're getting it in Wisconsin this weekend. It's gonna be damn cold.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
I'm not excited for it. I know that the Dolphins aren't excited for it as much as Tua says that it doesn't bother him.
It's 8:15 Eastern time, so it's a night game. It's under the lights, Arrowhead. It's freezing cold. That's not a spot Tua particularly plays well in.
No.
On the road, in the cold that night.
For this is just a fact of the matter. But
it's just facts. It's analytics. It's facts.
Yes, these are facts.
That's all it is. This shit's easy, right? We know the system.
Super easy. That's why I'm super above 500 this year. Other than that, that's all I got, man. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, just wild card weekend. We're stoked. This is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best weekends of the year. I would go this March Madness first weekend. Probably those two tied for.
They're definitely there. I've actually done the last two wild card weekends from a resort in the Wisconsin Dells at a water park.
Okay.
They have like an indoor bar area for adults only where they have a swim up bar. The last 2 years parked my ass on a Saturday for like 9 hours.
Hell yeah.
And become an absolute prune. Won't be doing that this year, but yes, thanks to everybody that listened. Thanks to everybody that's been following along the last few weeks with the live streams. Those were really fun. And keep an eye out next week for Dan Koob. We are going to be talking to the Koobster. You can follow him, Koob_Tube on X. Check out
Koob Tube.
Thank you so much for listening. That's the Lockdown Boys, and we're out of here.
Best of luck to everyone. Hit your bets.
Hit your bets.